Hi, this is Noah Votter, and today I'm going to show you how to use water slide decals. These are pretty neat technology that you can buy for about $1 a sheet or so. Just poke around on the internet. This is a sheet of water slide decals that I printed out on my inkjet printer. Make sure when you buy them that you either get LaserJet decals or inkjet decals depending on which kind of printer you have. And yes, these can be color, but this design is black and white. So the first thing I did is cut them out into a nice little sheet like this, trimmed it as best as I can, and then I'm going to print it onto this piece of metal here that I've painted. And it's going to come out and help us make a nice stomp box top like this. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is get yourself a bowl of warm water. Doesn't have to be particularly warm, you just don't want it to be completely cold. And always handle this thing very gently. By the way, I've pre-treated this according to the instructions by spray painting it with a clear coat material. I did 2 layers of that and let it dry for a few hours. Then you place it into the water and notice how it curls up immediately. That's okay. It's actually not going to stick to itself. All the glue part is between the top layer of the decal and the paper, which we're going to remove. Nevertheless, just to keep it easy, I like to hold it unfolded like that. Now you want to leave that for about 30 to 60 seconds. 45 seconds is good. And notice how I filled up the bowl completely. This is a larger design, and I want to keep the entire surface underwater. So time's passing. I know that it's ready when I see in the water that the backing is kind of saturated. It's a heavy paper, and like any paper, when you put it underwater, it gets waterlogged and the colors start to blur. On the back you can see this blue is starting to blur a little bit. Just give it a few more minutes. If you look carefully, oh, you can see the decal starting to peel off already, so I'm going to take that to mean it's ready. Now I can see that the bottom right corner is peeling off already, so I'm going to make use of that. It's a bit of a tricky material to work with when you have these big sheets, but you don't have to be an expert at all. So I like to get the surface just a little bit wet, so like that, so it can move around, so the decal can slide. It is a water slide decal after all. And I want to find that edge again. There it is. Very gentle. Here you don't want to let it touch itself like that. That could be bad already. Okay, we're able to unpeel it. It's really only stable once it's on there, so let's get it on there as soon as we possibly can. There, and you see how it can slide around? Once it's flat, you don't have to worry about getting it exact. It takes a little while to dry. Look at that, that's pretty nice. I can see there's one air bubble starting to form there, so we'll just push it out with our fingers like that. Go ahead and push out where you think any others are. There's another one starting to form. Alright. Okay, now that the big air bubbles are completely out of the way, I'm just going to check the alignment, make sure the edges. There we go. Notice it's still very slidey. You can move it around quite a bit if you want. Anyway, let me get that just... And make sure the edges look neat and trim, because if it dries with the edges up in the air, it's going to look not so hot. Push out. That little corner wants to make some more bubbles. There we go. Next thing I'm going to do is get a paper towel and just daub the top. Don't wipe, because you'll push it all over the place. And the drier it gets, the more it's going to dry. So we'll just get all the major easy to reach water off. Alright, now you can see the material is starting to dry. It's getting just a little bit wrinkly. It goes through a wrinkly phase before it dries completely. See, that edge is trying to curl up, so I'm going to try and push that down. Just going to do one more quick round of daubing. Anyway, that's about it. This is going to dry fully. I'm not sure how long, maybe 90 minutes or an hour. I'm going to let it go ahead and just dry overnight. This is another one I did about 10 minutes before I made this video. So you can see it's just about ready. There's no more water on it and there are no air bubbles on it. But ooh, it's still very delicate and still is capable of sliding around. So you want to let these things sit around for a long time for them to dry. So I hope that gives you a good impression of how to use water slide decals, and I hope you do a lot of really creative things with them because they're reasonably cheap and they're very flexible and can look very nice. Thanks.